We tend to think hearing is pretty simple. Sound waves travel, they hit our ears, and boom, that's it. But what if I told you that what you're hearing right this second isn't the whole story? That it's partly a construction, a really clever illusion happening inside your own mind. In this explainer, we are going to dive into some amazing auditory illusions that show how your brain is actively building the world of sound you experience every single moment.
All right, to get us started, I've got a little puzzle for you. It's all about sound, so you're going to want to listen closely. Okay, I'm going to play two sounds for you. Here's the first one, we'll call it sound A. And now here's sound B. So which one sounded higher to you? If you're like most people, you probably said sound A. Just hang on to that thought for a minute, because the real answer is probably not what you're expecting. Okay, so here's the twist. Sound A, that was just a pure, clean 100 hertz tone. But now look at sound B. It had that exact same 100 hertz frequency in it, but we also added 150 hertz and 200 hertz tones on top. We literally added higher frequencies, but somehow the whole thing sounded lower. How is that even possible? Well, to solve this little paradox, we first have to understand something fundamental. A single note is almost never just one sound. A good way to think about it is like a giant pipe organ, where a whole bunch of sounds are combining to create one single, rich, complex tone. This unique quality of a sound is called timbre. You can think of it as its color or flavor. It's the reason a trumpet and a flute can play the exact same note at the exact same volume, but you can instantly tell them apart. And that difference, their timbre, is all thanks to a hidden layer of quieter, higher frequencies called overtones that are hiding inside the main note. So here's how that richness gets built. It all starts with what we call the fundamental frequency. That's the main note, the pitch you hear. Then an instrument, say a guitar, adds its own unique set of harmonics, which are just higher frequency multiples of that main note. Your brain takes all of that, the fundamental and all its harmonics, and blends it together into the single, complex sound you recognize as a guitar. This whole idea leads to this amazing trick that was discovered way back in the 18th century. There was this organist, Georg Joseph Vogler, who couldn't lug around these enormous 32-foot pipes you need to hit the lowest notes on an organ, so he came up with a brilliant hack. He figured out he could just play the harmonics of that super low note using much smaller pipes, and people's brains would automatically fill in the deep bass note that wasn't actually there. It's a phenomenon called the missing fundamental. And that brings us right back to our puzzle from the beginning. Remember sound B? It had the frequencies 100, 150, and 200 hertz. Well, your brain is a pattern-finding machine, and it instantly recognized those as perfect harmonics of a very low 50 hertz note. So, even though that 50 hertz fundamental was never actually played, your brain just filled in the blank, creating the feeling of a much, much lower pitch than the pure 100 hertz tone you heard in sound A. Puzzle solved. So, we know the brain can hear a note that's totally missing. Pretty wild, right? Well, let's explore some even stranger illusions, where your brain starts hearing things that are completely impossible. Have you ever played Super Mario 64 and run up that endless staircase? The music that plays in the background, that feeling of constantly rising? That's a shepherd tone. It's an audio illusion that sounds like it's climbing in pitch forever and ever. It's also used in movies, like Dunkirk, to create this incredible feeling of tension that just never lets up. So how does this trick work? Well, it's not actually one note. It's a whole stack of the same note, played in different octaves, all rising together. But here's the sneaky part. As they get higher, the top notes are very quietly faded out, while at the exact same time, new, low notes are faded in at the bottom. Your brain gets fooled by the constant upward motion and just never even notices the switcheroo. Your brain's need to find patterns is so powerful, it will literally create meaning out of total nonsense. Take the phantom word illusion. It was created by a researcher named Dr. Diana Deutsch, and it's basically a jumble of overlapping, ambiguous sounds. But your brain, desperate to make sense of it all, starts pulling out words that aren't really there. And here's where it gets absolutely fascinating. What you hear totally depends on what's on your mind. Dr. Deutsch noticed that when she played this for her students around exam time, they would report hearing phrases like, no brain, or I'm tired, or no time. Their own stress and anxiety were literally shaping the sounds they were hearing out of random noise. So we've pretty clearly established that your brain isn't just a passive receiver. It's an active participant in the act of hearing. But things get even more intense when your other senses get in on the action. Because sometimes what you see can completely and totally override what your ears are telling you. All right, time for one more interactive experiment. I'm going to play a clip. All you have to do is listen and watch and tell me what words you hear. Okay? Got it? Now, here's another clip. What word did you hear that time? So I'm going to guess you heard the word bear the first time and fair the second time. Here's the secret. The audio you heard was identical in both clips. The only thing that changed was the video of the person's mouth. This is called the McGurk effect, and it's this powerful proof that when your senses give you conflicting information, your brain will often just trust your eyes over your ears, and you'll perceive something that never happened. Now, it is so easy to look at all these illusions and think that our senses are kind of flawed or easily broken. But they're not. They're really just side effects of an incredibly efficient system. These shortcuts your brain takes, they're actually a kind of superpower. Think about the last time you were at a loud party. There are dozens of conversations all happening at once. Music is playing, glasses are clinking. It's just a wall of noise. And yet, you can effortlessly tune all of that out and focus on the one single person you're talking to. That's the cocktail party effect, and it relies on the exact same brain mechanics that cause illusions, filling in the gaps and filtering information. And to pull off that amazing party trick, your brain is doing some seriously fast calculations. It's comparing the tiny difference in volume between your two ears. It's measuring the microsecond delay it takes for a sound to get from one ear to the other. It's even analyzing how your own head creates a sound shadow, subtly changing the tone. All of this happens instantly, just so you can figure out where a sound is coming from in a crowded room. So the real takeaway here is this. These illusions aren't proof that our hearing is broken. They're proof of just how brilliant it is. The world is a messy, noisy, ambiguous place, and our brains have come up with these incredible strategies to make sense of it all. The illusions, well, they just let us peek behind the curtain and see how the magic trick is done. And that leaves us with one last kind of fascinating thought. We've seen that what you hear is as much a creation of your brain as it is a simple detection of sound waves. So it really makes you wonder, if your brain is so busy constructing your sense of hearing, what other parts of your reality is it quietly building for you without you even realizing it?